complete this project. If it is already finished in your minds and this is just to seem sensitive to the needs of the community or the concerns, then please keep it.
That's fine. I respect, I think those of you who have been working with our group, I think we could jump in, will say that we have been very, very, very open to wanting to take feedback, and that is why we're here. If that's not being communicated, then we apologize, but we really legitimately are here for listening and for feedback, and no, this is far from complete. We've got 3 versions here.
Because you already said that that one is not the one. I don't mean to keep interrupting you, but I just want to be clear, for clarity's sake, and full-on transparency. That one's not the one. So there are not 3.
Let me back up, right? So we started this process about 2 months ago with an informal presentation to the Design Review Board, which is a building that was presented here. At that meeting, there were 30 or so people from the community who came and provided various stages of feedback. The feedback that was given was, it was too boxy, the architecture was not contextual, didn't sort of fit in the neighborhood, we needed to work on height massing, there was a number of things that were provided on this building. Out of that process, there was a group of people who indicated that they wanted to work with our team on a more intimate basis to try to really figure out how to get this into a better place. That meant unit sizes, it meant common area amenities, it meant engagement with the street, it meant architecture, etc. Mark's office then went through, and I mean Mark can present this, and did sort of an architectural survey of the village and predominant architectural styles, of which we then vetted with this group sort of direction that we wanted to go in terms of the building to keep things contextual, which was this kind of streamlined modern architecture that's very, very, very prevalent, particularly on 43rd. And trying to not come into something that looked like it was in Westwood, which is what we heard very, very, very clearly.
Or like art and practice.
Right, very clearly. And the evolution was a building here, which is where we ended up a week and a half ago with the group. We literally had a working session a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago, out of which the decision was made that we would try to do this meeting to say, hey, are we on the right track with program, with engaged, architecture, etc. And that is literally where we are in this process. We got some initial feedback that yes, this was a better direction. There are a number of things that happened. There was a story that was dropped off of this that involved building. We worked on everything from ground floor to architectural style to unit count got dropped as well, to creating a public plaza and open space. We're also very cognizant that the parking lot behind us will be redeveloped by the city very soon, and that's a very important part of what happens around here that we're trying to kind of balance. And so today is legitimately about, hey look, if there was a consensus here that everybody loved the original design and there were only 10 people in a working group that really wanted us to deviate, we're happy to go back to this.
No, but I'm not saying that.
But the direction seemed to be to move
or a community forum.
Right. The direction seemed to be to move to a place where everybody recognized that change is coming, the train is coming in, right? Destination Crenshaw is happening. There's a lot happening in this community, and we want to do something that is responsive but effective in terms of creating new housing, new jobs, and new.
But if the housing were for the community, again.
Say it again, sis.
We would also not to dedicate it to
Yes.
Yes.
And enjoy
Enjoy some of the retail on the ground level. Enjoy retail on the ground level, and units at the top.
Go through and explain what happened. They need to know what happened. Okay, the first thing is we all know this is not set in stone. This is not set in stone. The comments and suggestions, and please, I invite you all to come and be part of the working group. This is what I need. With your suggestions, since you know real estate well, sister, please give me some numbers.
There was a working group that responded to Metro as Metro was being developed, and Metro still came through like a bulldozer.
Okay.
So working groups aren't necessarily a
You
key
want to call it,
to
you want to call it an input group, all of you all, I can count on you to show up at the meeting and have your input? This is what I'm asking for.
We need to see what the project is
Okay,
first.
so that's
We
what
would
I'm
like to
asking.
hear the community engagement, whether or not the community would actually like for this to even be here, because every development that has come here has proven to not actually be for the residents who are here, who are working class, black people. So us being here and being able to express that should be the first and foremost concern, truth be told. So I
Yes.
invite you all to do your presentation and that we all have questions that are answered respectfully afterwards. I'm not angry. I'm ensuring that everyone in this room can hear my voice. So if you're going to characterize me as upset, I'm not.
I'm on your side. That's why I go to the meeting.
Yeah, there's
I'm
no
on your
anger.
side.
It's just I'm projecting my
That's what I'm
voice.
saying. It's like,
That's it. That's how we do it. It's passion for the community.
okay, I'm
It's
on your
passion for our future, for our children,
Okay.
for our elders.
Okay,
It's passion.
okay.
That's what it's about.
I got you.
We need housing. We don't need commercial spaces. We are artists. We are healers. We are teachers. We are poets. We are musicians. We are visual artists. We have working class people. We are all working class. We are not able to afford $800,000. We are not able to afford $1 million development.
First of all, they
A
are not.
third of the building or 5% of the building is not enough affordable housing. Homelessness is serious in our community. And you lock up our park where the people, the only place they can sleep, and where we feed the people. My friends feed the people. We love our community. We don't care about we don't care about class. We don't care about all that outer stuff. We care about the human beings. What are you going to do about the community housing situation, which is widespread around this whole Los Angeles, the whole city, but especially Leimert. Especially, this is where we help our people. This is the healing place. This is the Mecca for our cultural, spiritual upliftment, strengthening, lifting ourselves up so that we can do our work on behalf of community. We're all doing that. This place is about that.
Yes.
So if you take down these places, the World Stage, the Barbara Morrison, you take down all the small places, the African dance, the artists, the Isikas, all these places. You take away that and put your what do you put? Subways and bull crap like that. We don't want that. We want housing. We want community service. We want things that build our spirits, that build our minds. We want things that continue to share our culture, our spirituality. We do it. You cannot destroy that. We're not going to allow it. That's why she's passionate. That's why I'm speaking. I'm speaking on behalf of those that came before me, Billy Higgins, the people that started this community. Richard, what's his last name? Fulton? Richard Fulton, Fifth Street Dix. I'm speaking on behalf of people that I knew, people that inspired me, people who gave everything they could on behalf of community. Horace Tapscott, okay? People like that. Who else? Laura. Yes, Laura. Underwood, all of these people. The arts is the healers of our community.
This place here.
It retains the spirit of our community. Nothing separate in our culture.
Right, this place
You
here was the
cannot,
Black
we don't
Museum.
need glossy buildings. We don't need that. We don't need high rises. We need community space. We need space where our young people can come and be inspired and know who and what they are and love themselves and be proud of their culture and dance and drum and learn about songs and see the artwork. Okay, and hear the poetry that speaks the truth of our ancestors. This is why you have those names on here, the names on the ground. This is not about Hollywood. This is about culture and spirituality and upliftment of the community. Don't come here with this development, high development stuff. It's not about community. That's about money. And money that heart. Their teachers, their lecturers, their professors.
They need affordable housing.
They need the artists that we don't value. We need to support our people, their humanity. They can't afford $1,500 for one bedroom, $1,700 for one bedroom, $1,800 for one bedroom, $2,000. They can't afford that. We want an end to this. This is just another sign of more gentrification, which is nationwide. That's all I got to say right now.
My question is, to a lot of you real estate guys,
Yes.
why?
Brian Brie,
choosing-
Black Museum.
Why are you choosing to build something like that in a community like this around these type of people? Now, if you decide to do a venture like that, I would think that I would build it in an area with people who can afford it, who are into what you're doing, so you're building a community among where you are. But it seems like you're taking a space and you're dropping a corporation in the middle of a space of people who are not into what you're doing. So I don't understand why this would be a good location for you to build something like that if you know that the majority of the people in the community cannot literally participate in it. And that like, to me, I cannot understand. Like, why do you feel that this is an appropriate place to build a thing such as that and do not include the residents? Where do you, and I asked Trump too, where do they expect us to go? What are they planning?
Yeah.
Because if you make a plan and you say, well, we're going to do this here, and then there's people there, what are the people there going to do if that is not intended for them?
Yes.
You understand? See, that part I never understood.
priced out.
And you tell us, well, you have, 10% of you can possibly move in here. Okay, but you got plenty others who are looking for places to go, and you're dividing our community.
We have a place to go. It's called the Juggles right over there.
No.
Wait a minute. Same thing happening there.
This neighborhood over here been here forever. And when you guys put that stupid hospital up there and that high-rise up there and raise the rent 3 times, that people can't afford it. Where they supposed to go?
Exactly.
To the desert.
Yeah.
To the desert.
That's going to be more expensive to live over there than it is to live anywhere else. I mean, who can truly afford $3,500 a month in rent? I don't understand. I don't.
How you doing? My name is Rubio. I live on David. I live on David about 20 years. About 20 years. I'm the guy who did all the poinsettias throughout the village for years. Save the Leimert started in my living room. I just want to say that, these people are here to learn and be educated by us. They're not here to get attacked. First of all, they don't even have to be there. They can just build their building. I think we got to be grateful that they came to hear us out, okay? So we thought...
Uh-oh, you uppity Negroes. We uppity Negroes. How dare we?
Fair enough.
How dare we speak out for our people?
That you're setting up in a space that was not originally your own, and you decided to be here. Now you don't answer that question.
Well, actually, my dad lived here in 1930. My family's been here for generations. My great-great-grandparents, my great-grandparents, my grandparents are all buried in Inglewood. So maybe I don't have the same skin color as you, but my roots are here. So I have every right to speak and call upon my ancestors too.
But you don't step on us and ours to uplift yours.
This kind of conversation, it all starts with that ugly green fence that our councilman put. You want to protect this space? Let's hear them out. Let them talk. Let them show the project.
Okay, I have a question I have to ask.
We have an elder behind
I have an elder, old folks person I have
Okay.
to ask. A senior citizen, please let me talk. First of all, I want to know, all these developers here, who bought all of this? Who are the people? Where are they? I don't know. you know, are the Europeans somewhere hid behind a rock and have you all up here as the front goers? Where are these people? Whose side? Where are the?
Elliot?
Who are the money people behind you guys here?
Yeah, so.
Who is that? Who are you?
It's my firm. I'm with Lincoln
Your
Property
firm.
Company.
What's the name of the firm?
Come on up and speak
Property
up.
Company.
Say what?
My name is Elliot Weinstock. I'm with Lincoln Property Company. Are we good with this tone? Is it too loud?
That's pretty
Give me
corporate.
a second to talk.
Okay, well hurry, I want to hear.
I'm located in West LA.
West
The city
LA.
of LA is changing, as you all are very well aware.
Gentrified. Everybody say it. Gentrification. We know.
There's a train coming, right? Down in 2020. There's
No black
opportunity.
people are hardly working on that train. But excuse me.
That has nothing to do with our city representative. Let's keep it specific to this project.
Okay.
That's our goal. We came here to listen and to get feedback for our one project, which again we are allowed to do by right, and we don't really need to engage at this level. We want the feedback. That's why we're here. We're here on a Sunday.
need to engage.
It's not a Monday. It's not a Friday. We're here on our own to get the engagement.
You have it by right.
The building right now, the building that's there, there was a fire in half the building. It's unusable. We're trying to build something new in the community that can be used by some people in the community. Will there be new people?
Some people.
Maybe. I don't know. But we're here. We're building a project that replaces something that's there.
But why not ask the community? Maybe we want a community center. Maybe we want a community garden.
Ask them
Maybe
what
we
they
a place
want
for houses
in their
to be
community.
at. Not some place where it's almost $800,000 is what y'all are
I
on.
don't know where you got $800,000.
What's the rental point? Tell us what the rental point is.
We haven't figured
What's
it out.
the
It's gonna be a
projected
market.
rental point?
There's a market rent,
What's
right?
the market rent?
At the end of the day, there's a market for everything.
What's the market rent?
I mean, that will depend when
You
the
know,
project.
or else it's what it is.
I don't know.
That's why
It
y'all
depends
made
on
the
the market
project.
rent is whatever someone will come in and pay.
So you came in here blindly without knowing the market rent for the community and just are planning to drop a building without knowing the projected earnings you may get? That's bad
there's
business.
projections.
So
but
first of all, you're not telling us.
it's not projections.
So what's the projection?
Projections are $1,500 a month.
Now there's a projection.
For what? For the low end? For the low end, low income?
Affordable or what? Under 400.
Affordable units would be $397 a month.
397.
The rest of the
Right now there are zero. There are zero. We're adding to the
So I think maybe to have a little bit of organization, I'm going to pass out a card and you can put your name on it and your question and we can read them out, or we can call on people who have a card. We're going to give a quick presentation just to give some context because a lot of these questions could be answered before they have to be asked. You're not even
Answering them fully.
If you want to have a conversation, we came here to have a conversation. We didn't
So
get here.
I'm going to pass out the
No
card.
one. Well, then you don't know where you're at then. You don't know black people there because we just talk now. That's it.
But look, can I say something really quick? Really quick. Look, my family's been here for over 60 years, okay? And I'm ready myself. So a lot of the things that you guys are talking about, I'm being affected by it too. My mom is being affected by it right now too. Okay, the rents are going up. I gotta make sure she's gonna be all right. But the thing is, the people that we need to be focusing on are downtown. That's what's going on. This is a great conversation. These are look, listen, these are developers. But the city is the one that's pushing all this stuff. These are the people that need to be going on. No, listen. But listen. The power, as far as they're going to do what is allowed to be done. If the city allows them to do it, listen. But who's the one who sets the rules? Who sets the game up? If they're playing the game, who sets it up? The city sets it up.
Is it completed
That's
or
what I'm
is it
saying.
projected?
So if we're projecting over here, it's almost a waste because these guys are doing it downtown. That's what we need to be focused on. That's it.
Is this idea completed?
That's it. That's what we have to do.
Where's he at?
You can, but I'm saying you can, but once you understand how this game is being perpetrated, that's what you need to understand. That's what I'm saying.
So this is a formality. We have no say. This is a formality. This is just the steps that they have to say they've done this, a community meeting, but they do what the heck they want to do on top of us. That's what you're saying. That's what he's saying. They both have said that. Like they don't have to listen
But
to
why
us.
don't they have to? Because the city says that. That's what I'm saying. The city says they don't have to. That's what I'm saying. The city says they do not have to.
Well, what I want to
That's
know,
what I'm saying.
tell us exactly how many units are in this building. What are the price points for these units? What is your 5% you put aside for affordable units?
And answer these.
But don't tell us about the beauty of the outside. Tell us what's really going on. What are the uses?
Sister, that's what I'm trying to say. That's what I'm trying to say.
And tell us where it's located.
But this is where it comes down.
And then we got more questions.
But this is where it comes down to Herb West and the mayor of Garcetti that's pushing this shit. That's the thing that's going on. I don't want it either. But these people have no fucking power. That's it. They're coming in here doing what they're able to do. That's the whole thing. They are doing this. But the people that are doing it is the state. It goes to the assembly. It goes to the city. These are the people that are pushing this. Like when they get things like developers, let me give you an example. Federal government came and said they designated our community as a state. $84 million money that's given by the city.
I'm happy to shout. I'm happy to shout. I live in this community. If they're gonna put a 63-unit apartment building, I wanna know what's going on.
Yeah.
I don't want, anger is appropriate sometimes. But, we're adults in this room. I wanna hear what they have to say, and then I wanna hear what you have to say. Thank you. I love it.
Meeting begin. Let it begin now.
So at this point, and I'm going to ask for everybody to just give us the time to get through this, so we answer your questions. There's been a lot of, frankly, accusations about what the building is and not, and we would like to just give everybody the information. I do this a lot. I always say, we all need to be playing from the same deck of cards. What you do with your hands is your business, but we all have to be operating from the same set of facts first. So I'm going to have Mark walk through the project, walk through the building. He'll answer the how many, who is it for, what are the unit sizes, what are we doing, how's the program, etc. And then we will take questions. And we would like to try to do it in an organized manner so that everybody can hear the question and the answer, and hopefully we can resolve some of this. But again, just give us a few minutes to please get through this. If you are over here by the door and you cannot see this corner of the room, I'm going to please encourage you to come this way because the graphics are small. So if you are curious, pull up, just get closer, but it's going to be a little bit difficult for those of you in this corner. I will also say, for anybody who came in late, we have some sign-in sheets that I'm actually going to circulate around here, so we have everybody's contact information in the future. If you're comfortable giving us your email and your name, please do. And that's the only way that we have to keep it in touch with you.
Across the street from the town.
Did you want to say something, Ricky?
Well, just to sort of focus the broader conversation, because personally I feel like everything that has been said in here is valid. Whether or not it can all be directed at the people who bought CZ's building, because we said there was this whole big thing in the news, we have a housing shortage.
Yes.
Those of you who volunteer with us dealing with the homeless know that some of our
Yes.
homeless are the working poor
Yes.
who need housing.
Yes.
If you also know, if you've been here historically, we've had meetings just like this over the last 10 or 15 years when developers have left and we now don't have that housing because we have run developers out of our neighborhood. We all understand that we live in a capitalistic country. Until we change it and fix it, that's what it is. People are not going to build housing for anyone, us or anybody else, if they can't get at least a little bit of profit out of there. Why would they why would they? We would love for that to be the case, but that's simply not the case. And so some of these conversations, we have to find a balance and a compromise. I also agree with the person that says some of this needs to be directed at the city and officials who made the TOC laws that they don't have to provide parking, that they don't have to come to their community. They made those laws and those rules, and we either voted or didn't vote for the people who made that possible. That's 1, 2, and 3. CZ's building was empty and for sale forever. I have been trying to get my community to buy and invest in these buildings. We need to buy these buildings. We need to raise funds. We need to invest in our home, and then we don't have to even worry about them coming over here, buying up our properties. Then we can build our community centers. And if anybody wants to talk to me about that, I'm perfectly willing to talk about that, but the people who are most upset aren't even listening right now. So, just for the focus of it, we specifically, because they were at a design review board meeting, which just reviews design, right? That's what happened. They were at a design review board meeting, which is required by the city, right? Maybe we get the city to require that they come to us. Maybe that should be a requirement too. But we can't be mad at them for following the rules. So they came to a design review board meeting. No one there liked this. And we were like, oh, hell no, that is not a reflection of Leimert at all. Everybody who comes to Leimert is passionate about it. Born and raised here. People who just got here, like you feel it, that love, that spirit, that vibe. Like we all want that. We said this didn't look like that, and we don't want to look like Abbott Kinney. So we asked them, would they sit down from members of the community and discuss design? And then it was a smaller group. So we said, can you come? Because I certainly don't want to be the one to make a decision about what Leimert looks like. So we said, let's get everybody to come in and talk about what it looks like. So that's why this meeting was on what it looks like. If we need to have some other meetings so we can talk about those other issues, but we can't get all the solutions of the things that, all the harms that have happened to us over the years, we can't get all our reparations back from one group. Like, we gotta hone this in, focus it in. We do need housing. They're not gonna do it unless they make a little bit of money. I don't mind them making a little bit of money. They need to understand who this community is, what our concerns are, what we care about, and what our priorities are. And our concerns are for all of us to be included, from the bottom up. Maybe that's not what y'all are used to dealing with, but we love our homeless, our insane, our mentally ill, our artists, our lawyers, our doctors, our everything, and we need to take care of all of it. So if you come to this neighborhood and understand who we are, maybe we can have a focused, productive conversation.
Exactly. All right, so on that note,
And don't take advantage and overcharge us.
Oh my God! That wasn't me!
Listen to me. Listen to me. Listen. It's gouging us. We don't need gouging. Making a little bit of profit is not the same as gouging. And that's us too. If we own our own properties and we have properties to rent out, this is not the time to gouge. This is the time to compromise and figure out a way where you can make your money without gouging, because your people are suffering. We are suffering. I don't care. I'm talking to my community now. Because it's more than one issue, like she said. A little bit of profit is not corporate gouging of our community. Go on, do your thing. But I'm just saying, it's not no little bit of profit. They not in it if they ain't making big money.
The only way this is going to work, because there are too many people in here, is if we don't have side conversations for 5 minutes of begging everybody. So the people who would like to hear.
Can you just start? Because if you had started from the beginning, just start. Just start. Don't even tell us how to listen. Start. With respect.
All right, everyone can focus on Mark in the front of the room, and we're going to work our way this way. All right.
So the site is located at 43rd and is between Dignan and Crenshaw, and is located here. This is Honeycomb, where we are today, and the site is around the block on the other side of the parking lot in the middle of the lot. What we were asked to do is to look at a project that was about 64, 63 units previously, and 64, 63 units, and that was based on the TOC. And so when we presented that, it was this series of designs at Design Review. And we heard a lot of comments, and we tried to then take those comments and figure out how to translate them and rework the project to see if we could come closer to what we were hearing the community say. And so that was what we were trying to do. And so we looked, really at trying to understand the setbacks and how things work in your neighborhood and for multifamily projects that exist. And we also wanted to try to bring some of that flavor from a design side into the project, trying to provide open space and green space at the ground level that was open and not cornered off or over security. We also thought it was important for the building to try to imagine what the Leimert Village would be like once the train portal opens. With the plaza and the portal coming up off of Crenshaw and between the existing alleyway behind the commercial buildings that exist today, we think it's going to be a big opportunity for pedestrians to actually cut through the back and not have to walk on Crenshaw necessarily, but have that as like a walkway, a pedestrian walkway eventually, and that could be a future. And we thought our project needed to consider what's going to happen and how can the project be a good addition as opposed to just trying to fit onto the lot. So we've been looking at also how we can relate to the neighborhood, the village architectural qualities. We were asked to see if we could make something that would really much more architecturally fit in than what we had previously designed. So the first thing we did was we started to look at the existing buildings on Degnan and 43rd and really try to pick up on what the intrinsic quality was. And a lot of people ask, should it be like the theater and should it be a little more exuberant? And we said, really it is a combination of a live-work kind of residential commercial building. It really maybe shouldn't be a building that screams and tries to create itself as a look-at-me moment, but rather should be a good infill building that sort of plays its role, but does not become a landmark because it doesn't have that kind of use. So we started to look at how we could use the curvatures of corners and the easing back of that in order to really relate to how all of the corners really occur on Degnan and on 43rd there. So we're trying to play with that. We also thought we would take away all of the balconies and try to make the facade look a little more like a commercial building and play up the fact that we're part of a commercial district and we do not actually need to look like a residential building. And then finally what we tried to do is lower it. We took a floor off the 43rd side and we actually are now at about 60 units. So we lost about 3 units from where we started here. And try to get the scale down so that it really fit better into the neighborhood fabric. We also tried to open up the ground floor, making them more like storefronts and larger. So we have larger units on the ground floor that we didn't have before, so that if somebody wanted to have a pure commercial use out of it, it actually had that opportunity to have scale. So we have now about about 1,000 square foot units on the ground floor at the corner and one in to kind of give variety to the units on the ground. They also all have storefronts like this so that it feels like a storefront that could house offices, doctors, and all of these other kinds of things, artists. Live work really came from the specific plan and that idea that live work allows artists, makers, professionals to actually have a business legally in their unit. And so these are all part of trying to fit into the Leimert Park specific plan or overlay. And that's where we are currently. I don't want to take up more of your time, but we have been just trying to understand the comments and see if we can get closer to responding to some of the critiques we got at the first meeting and try to make it better. And as we move forward, we're trying to have the conversation with you guys to make sure that we have considered everything we should before we actually submit something forward.
Can
So,
you point out the modifications?
yes, I
over
can.
there,
Sure.
over there, and point out the modifications for the first building?
So what we have here are two options. Two options. One is an option where we push the building and slide the front and the back to create a corner plaza sort of outdoor space that's open to the public and really opens up to 43rd and the alley. This is the alley behind the commercial buildings on Crenshaw. The portal to Metro is down in the distance, and then the McDonald's is behind you. So this scheme looks at a public space on 43rd. We've removed the one story, so now it's a 4-story building. The commercial sort of articulation of the ground with the bigger units, we've sort of curved the edges to really mimic the sort of architecture that exists in the sort of historic village here. Option 2 here is basically flips that whole notion, takes the public space, the open plaza, and puts it on the back alley side and makes it respond to the alley towards the Metro. And really sort of creates a building and
I'm covering it for everyone, for our whole community, who didn't even know about this.
So the second option pushes the building and really sort of creates a street frontage in its totality without the open space on the corner and puts the open space on the back alley side. We think it's still viable, but we wanted to give you guys an option to weigh in as well because you guys live here, you guys walk these places, so knowing how you see the future in terms of porosity and how you want to be able to move through the site, I think is something we'd be very interested to hear from as well. Coloration and final form is not here yet, so we're not saying it has to be a white building with blue brick base. We're playing with the idea of something with color and something more neutral. So don't take it so seriously in terms of that. We haven't decided, but if you do have ideas about what that should be, that's important. We also have mural moments. We want to provide space for the community to decide if they want any sort of local artists to do something on the building. So there are moments that you'll see with just really bad graphics right now, but really just trying to indicate where opportunities exist for the artist community to engage literally on the building. And it doesn't have to be a mural. It could be an art piece that hangs on the front of the facade. It could be anything. It's just about using, you guys want to use the building as an armature for local artists to showcase. It will be visible when you turn onto 43rd, so we think that that's a great opportunity as well. That's all I've got.
What are the units? 60 units, what are they? What are those 60 units?
We've got 60 live-work units, and they range from 380 or so square feet to 1,000 square feet. We've got, and it's not 1,000 square foot units, there are only 2 at that large size, and then the rest sort of scaled down. But that's the range.
Okay, so in order to do this, I'm going to try to facilitate questions, and we're just going to go this way. So if you have a question, I promise you I will make sure I catch everyone. And I'll try and repeat the questions for those of you that can't hear it.
It's kind of a layered question. So I am interested in the details of it. So it's 60 units, 385 to 1,000. What is the price point?
So, right, as Elliot said, so some of the challenges about price point is that the market is, right, there's a lot of real estate people in here we've met today, right? The market expands and contracts. What we do know is the affordable units are fixed because, right?
So the 7 affordable units will be extremely low income, which is there's 7 out of 6 that are officially covenanted and restricted by the city. For a studio, that will be about $348 a month. And for a 1-bedroom or a larger unit, that will be $397 a month for those 7. And those are restricted for a period of 55 years. The landlord cannot change those rents. They have the same.
And as the state in transit
They have mandated by federal housing law to be exactly the same retrofitted, 90% of the average size of the unit. They have to be, they're not gonna be a
building, they have to
keep
get.
people as they should.
Right, so as Elliot said, probably the average price point, I'm saying average, would be around $1,500 a month, which is very consistent with a lot of the rents around here. One of the things.
We didn't hear you. Can you say it again?
1,500 for what size?
An average, I said an average.
But for what size?
I'm getting there. So part of this building is that there are smaller units and there are larger units. The intent is to provide, and this is Olivia and I, our second project in the community. We learned a lot from the last one. We learned a lot about people living in their parents' garages, people who are otherwise have nowhere to go, people who would be living otherwise on the streets, and the desire to have a variety of new housing types and a variety of new unit sizes to allow somebody to age in this community who would otherwise maybe not have anywhere else to live. So the smaller units and the larger units, again, as Mark says, this is a live-work project. It's intended to provide opportunities for the entrepreneurial community, for people that live at home, for students, for somebody that wants to have a business. You're not actually required to live here. You are required to have some kind of work in the building. Artist opportunities, that engagement for people to come in and have a place where they can grow a business.
Okay.
And so the smaller and the larger are going to be different price points, but they legitimately are not set because the construction time is so long that the project probably won't come to market for another 2 years.
So my question is, because I came to the last meeting regarding the other building, so I thought this was actually about the building. I'm still not clear on how the communication goes about so we can participate in these meetings. Let me finish. So we can participate in these meetings, because when we get to the meetings at this point, it's kind of like an after, so it's an afterthought.
Okay.
Well, let me, I'm not done. So
I just want to make sure that she's asking about how the communication for the meetings comes out.
Yeah, so if you guys can't hear me, I'm using my teacher voice. You can't hear me, let me know. So my concern is how we hear about these meetings. So that's just layered. So it tends to find out about the meetings once decisions have already been made. And so that for me is a concern, because the building is purchased, you guys already have an architect team, design, there's a design point, so we're kind of behind in that. But my concern also is your company did the other building.
So we are the engagement people or
yes. But we realized that parking was the issue in that building that has 100 units. So now you add another 60 units that does not have parking. So I don't know how we're being considered when the second building within a 2-block radius goes up without parking. The next is the square footage. We talked about what's comparable to Leimert Park. No one here, unless you're in a garage, has a 1-bedroom that's shy of 750. An average 1-bedroom is about 750, maybe even 800 square feet. 2 bedrooms go to 1,400. So when you say comparable, if you're not compromising our size along with the price, it's not comparable. 385 square feet is shy of a garage. And we talked about that the last meeting. That's a box. So to give somebody that kind of space to grow old in, you can't grow old in a 400 square foot room unless you know it. And that's the part of the design that's not being considered. Because you put the price point at something that's comparable to the market, the living is not comparable. And our quality of living includes space, and that's the concern that I have.
Okay. So there are a number of questions. I'll try and take them one by one. I'll take the communication. So we printed how many flyers?
Sister, excuse me, sister.
So
Could you put
out
your
of
name on there?
yes,
Out
out.
it? Because my thing is engagement. I want everybody to participate.
Yeah.
This is, okay, I just want to answer your question. This is not after the fact. This is, I understand, because it's not after the fact. It's been progressive. I got in it, I didn't know. I got a memo said design review, I went. Okay, so all I'm saying is,
I'm an educator, I check my email every day. I'm just letting you know an email that comes to my box by neighbor.
Well, that's gonna change after today.
So let me explain. Out of this working group, we have stakeholders. We provided a bunch of physical flyers to people that were actually in the community we don't have lists. We're not a next door in this neighborhood. We don't have your block club lists. Our onus is to get information out to the leaders who then disseminate. If there are people that didn't know about this, we hear it at every single meeting. We can't possibly ever publicly notify everybody, but we do what we can, which again is why we have here. So this came about by us providing physical flyers and digital copies to the community leaders and block clubs in the neighborhood council, whatever, to disseminate. How it happened from there, I don't think we can respond to, but there's enough people here that clearly the word got out. We also had to post it in here, right? Okay, so that's the first thing. You're correct on unit size. I want to clarify, this is not a traditional apartment building. This is not intended to be a traditional family apartment building. Everything in the village by the city's ordinance is required to be with work. It is required to be this kind of housing. That is, those of you that were involved in the community plan update that took the last 6 years, it's required to be with work. It's not intended to be 1, 2, and 3 bedroom family housing. And we're not going to sit here and tell you that if you have a family of 4, that this is the building for you. We are going to say that if you are a maker, or you are otherwise working at home, or want a place that is creative and close to transit and in a more urban environment, that there's an opportunity for you, but we're not telling you to move out of your existing home here if it's not right for you.
Without a parking.
Correct. So, okay, so, right, the parking is gonna come up. There currently is no on-site parking. Elliot and his team will be working out off-site parking agreements for the project.
Well, it's gonna be all in the neighborhoods. We have to time, we don't have parking.
So we have also been working with a couple of the people in the community as well as the council office to guarantee that nobody who lives in the building will be eligible to permit park. There are also several blocks in McClung and up this way that are in the process of getting permit parking that we are actively helping and supporting that happen to make sure that the projects that come in do not exacerbate your existing parking spot. So those are things that we can do proactively. Where they will park, again, is something that we need to figure out and we will commit to. We are also providing a robust transportation demand management plan as well as transit options as well as bikes. There are 2 train stations, not 1, but 2 within a quarter mile of here. This is one of the most transit-rich communities in all of the entire city of Los Angeles.
Okay. So you're selling the building. We just want to know about the price points. You still have not answered. 7 are affordable units. 53 are what price range? If it was today. She is not answering the real question. The price points for the 53 units that are market rate today, how much is the range? For the smallest to the largest, what is the range? Can you please answer that question? Can you please answer the question, please, thoroughly? I can't hear her.
I've said 3 times.
Go, please.
An average of $1,500 a month, which is what Elliot has provided. That is the information that I have the ability to provide right now. If you want more specifics,
That
we
doesn't
do
sound-
not have that today, and I cannot provide that.
So the whole building is a moderate unit. It's moderate as opposed to, I don't even understand. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense.
I have one question. I live on Dignan.
Okay.
The parking issue, that's tremendous. There's no way that if you could build something like this, we would have to have permanent parking, just like the West Side and on Venice. That would have to be.
And there is a permanent parking district in the works for in the Plum,
Is that going to include the people in the apartments?
And I may need to rely on some of the people here who are actively working on that, but but we understand, and it's in process.
There was a glitch because our block, people for our block club, they came by, we had 100%
Petitions, yeah.
petitions. Then it got to the council office and people had moved, so those glitches, I mean, we're doing everything we can to make sure we have 100% participation. But
Sure.
again, that may get the council off.
And again, that's sort of aside from us, we engage with the city as planners and have the ability to communicate. So it's something that we're doing actively on behalf of the neighborhood, but if there are issues, maybe we can talk separately and we can pass stuff along to the council office. All right, going this way. Okay. All right, parking. And by the way, Olivia's taking notes, so if there are, right, if someone has already asked your question, just kind of note what the issue is so we know that there's how many comments are. Yeah.
Are there any meetings moving forward scheduled with our councilman Harris Dawson?
Well, this is technically West.
We have anything planned with her,
Not at
or
this,
his deputy?
not at this, so
At
at this
this
point,
limits this conversation.
Let me say this. Let's call Weston's office and get a meeting.
That's no problem, that's what I'm asking.
That's what I'm saying, so that's,
But we-
what happened that, we get a meeting, and then, like I said, a lot of these questions are for the council.
Right.
So, set the meeting, let me know, we'll get the information.
But no, on this project, we do not have any pending meetings with the council office, nor do we have any other scheduled meetings or presentations at this point in time for here, because we need to sort of see what happens from here and what our next steps are.
No, I just think it would be nice to have them here to answer the questions they need to answer
Yes.
about this project.
Yes.
So, you know, I appreciate that you
Right,
guys offer.
it is a
But I feel
Sunday,
limited.
it is a Sunday afternoon, we're all taking time away from our families and our kids, so there's logistics.
And have you guys thought about building parking?
No, they haven't.
Okay, that's a question that I want to know if anybody's considered, because I know that it's cheaper for the developer not to have to build parking.
not
And I'm sure there's some restrictions to train underground parking. So besides just kind of, we're not knowing yet, has anybody had a conversation about building a parking structure?
We have not, in conjunction with the project, but again, there are two big city projects that are gonna happen here that are going to contemplate a substantial amount of parking for the downtown area in conjunction with the train. That's stuff that, we know. If anyone sitting here in the room doesn't recognize that there's two large parking structures that are city projects that will get redeveloped because of the train, that will happen. We do not know what, when, how, that's a city question, but they are parking lot right behind us and the one across the street, right? So, okay, moving kind of.
Right here.
Okay, my name is Vicky, and I'm on the Plum, the 4200 block of the Plum, which is the first street. We're in the hot zone, okay, in the kill zone. Right now, there's no parking. There's only parking on one side of the street. The other side of the street are homes. Okay, already, we cannot even park there. My concern is, when all these projects are finished, it is going to be horrendous. We all know that. I mean, it's not just McClung. I'm just saying that because it's the first street you get to. My question is, the alley behind, I live in a duplex, the alley behind, it's a north-south alley. How is that going to be used in construction? That alley is a hot mess. There are potholes galore. Okay, that alley needs to be redone. I heard that the city is working on it. What that means nowadays. How is that alley? Am I going to be able to get in and out of my garage and the other tenants on the street, the other homeowners? What's going to happen with the alley? I think you mentioned something. Is your name Martin?
Yes.
I think you mentioned something. I need to know what's going on. I mean, I assume that there's going to be a lot of heavy trucks. When are you going to start constructing? Is it going to wake me up at 5 in the morning or whatever? If you can talk about that for a minute.
So first up, this project is not front or access from the McClung. That's another project, right? This one is 43rd that backs up to the city parking lot here. So Mark's talking about alley activation. We're talking about activating, right? This walk actually right on the other side of Cotton Pool goes through the parking structure.
So nobody's
I don't know that we can, right, you've also got McDonald's there, that's heavily accessed. We will commit to having a robust construction management plan where construction workers cannot park in the neighborhood. If there's concerns about access up the alley between Crenshaw and McClung, in terms of protection for the houses, we can work on that. Ideally, this project is going to be focused more on kind of the downtown and Crenshaw corridor because we're opposite McDonald's, as opposed to slightly to the north of McClung and into the neighborhood, because we legitimately back up to the backside of the village and not to houses. It's one of the, you know, for better or for worse, one of the advantages of the location. There's no immediate residential anywhere surrounding the site. We're 100% surrounded by existing commercial uses, and so the disruption should be less than if we were adjacent to housing. But I think we should talk separately about access, and I want to understand some of that we can put into place to make sure the project doesn't exacerbate anything. In terms of timing, we still have to go through a city process and plans.
There are city laws, and if the contractor is violating those laws in terms of timing, absolutely.
No, I mean, when would construction start?
2020.
Yeah, I mean, we're probably, 15 months out, sometime next year, before anything would happen. So we have plans, we have a process. We don't actually have a building that we have sort of set. Okay. I'm going to move on from Vicky. There were some hands this way. Yes.
Hi, I'm Terry Scott, arts producer, artist. I'm curious about what kind of thought's been given to how you're determining who gets in the arts workspace. How you decide what's an artist or a maker, what the process, the criteria will look like.
Okay, so there's two kinds of units in the building. I'll take the easy one, which is the affordable units, right? The affordable units are governed by the city's fair housing laws. There is a list of people, they have to be income qualified, they have to have background checks, screen checks, and all of that is done in conjunction with the housing department to make sure that the people who are going in there meet all the criteria to be below a certain income level and have those. The rest of the units is live work units. People will have to hold a business license of some sort. They will have, something that is qualified. There is no discrimination on that, so it's like
implicit discrimination.
Let me, in terms of, there's no list, it's people that apply will come, they again will be vetted like in any other building. What do you do, credit history, etc. As in any other project, I want to make sure that the people that are coming in are vetted the way you would in anywhere else you want to take care of a building. So I don't think that there is a defined process for who can and can't live here.
When you say the artist maker spaces, how are you determining the artist?
What'd you say?
How are you determining the artist
What'd you say?
maker?
South LA's best kept
secret is the secret's out.
The units it's sort of by design. They're open floor plan, which can accommodate a certain kind of activity. The units are not designed with one bedrooms and others. They're, when we say live work, to accommodate people, it's more by design, open floor plan, but again, it's live work, which means artist, professional office, anything. There is no choice. It's about application and meeting all the criteria. You have a business or you an art.
So it's not necessarily for artists, that's what I'm hearing.
It can accommodate the artist.
They said doctors, whoever,
We're happy to outreach with you or anybody else in the community about availability. If there's places we can market to or make available notices in advance notification, we always in our projects reach out to the neighborhood council to let them know about early availability so that people who are in the community get first choice. So there's things that we can do to make notice of availability of the units, so it's not broadcast on Westside Rentals before it's broadcast to someone here.
need to sit down and work out a plan where on the application or part of the criteria for living in there, you know, you must show your artistry, you must show your, whatever we need to do to make that criteria work. So, that's it.
One more thing. I've worked with artist housing units around the country, and there is a criteria, there's a process where you have to show your work in your portfolio. And this is an arts community, so I would like to see an effort be made to people who work here, live there.
Yes.
Who are artists.
So I
Yes.
think we would be interested in working with you to understand some of that, make sure that we have appropriate accommodations in the building, and that Elliot's company understands what they need to do from a leasing standpoint. Sort of, in all honesty, if we're talking about who's going to live there and that, we're sort of beyond all these issues, which I don't think we're beyond. But I appreciate the question. Yes.
Okay, yes. How you doing? I'm still stuck on the 7 affordable housing out of the 60 because
7.
As a young person, I feel like this is going to affect us the most because after a lot of us are, you know, graduating college and stuff. So how are we going to be able to afford housing and there's only 7 available and then, you know, there's going to be a long waiting list for that. So how do you determine only 7 out of the whole 60?
So the 7 is determined because there's a formula about the number of affordable units to the percentage of total units that is driven by the city. We will take the feedback about the affordability and see if there's anything additional that can be done, but it's done as a function of percentage of the total units that is.
Okay, well, surely you know this is a low-income area, right? So if the houses are too, I mean, of course, we all know we have a housing crisis, but it's not going to solve anything. People that need houses still can't afford them.
We've heard the questions about price point and affordability.
They understand because you have a different income from all of us, okay?
I'm not a developer. All right, so
You need to tell us your working class?
I am a planner.
I have 2
kids. I have 2 kids that are in public school because that's what we can afford.
Are you working class?
Yes or no?
I would say
Six
yes.
figures. Are you
I would
in
say
6
yes.
figures?
All right.
All right, back to the parking situation. Instead of making it
I'm
easy
sorry,
for the parking situation, my name is Kim. Instead of making it easy for the so-called people that are gonna be on the metro, cutting across the alley, you know, to get to their apartment building. And if they got a business and they got all of this stuff they got to bring in, and they got to park 2 blocks away, that's ridiculous. That area in the back where he said, Mark, is that it? Said that aside from the alley or around that area, where they said maybe green space or easement, where they walk through from the train to the apartment, that area could be used for parking. For the people that live in the building, you know, who wants to walk 2 blocks away, you know, to their, then come to their apartment. You know, this is not New York. This is Leimert Park in Los Angeles. Parking is critical. Even in the area, I mean, you know, you cannot dictate the train. Let me put it this way. The train cannot dictate how people are going to live to catch the train. But most of these people are not going to even take that train down Crenshaw. You know, so any building that's built should have parking in the building, whether it's underground, 1-story underground and ground level parking, or parking in the rear, or some kind of subterranean parking. I mean, because parking is just critical, so you can't build your way out of parking here in Los Angeles, is what I'm trying to say. It's just critical.
And we will